Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, let's see. All right, we have Mary, Carrie, Misha, Joan. All right, so let's get started. Let's see if I can thumbnail. There we go. Okay. So good morning, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here on a Saturday morning. I know Saturday mornings, if you're not in business, you're probably sleeping. uh, but I definitely appreciate that you are here. I hope that today's webinar provides you with some additional insight into helping you grow your business during this post-COVID era. And so today I want to talk a little bit about some strategies. I put here 8 marketing strategy that you can employ during the post-COVID era. And so strategies or steps, I think that these are, I hope that these will be beneficial for you. And as always, if you have questions, we have a chat box that Jay or Daphne can monitor, and I will also be monitoring it as well. And in addition, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in or raise your hand or and contribute. So we're gonna get started, okay? Let me minimize my screen here so I don't see everybody. There we go. And so 8 marketing strategies that you can employ during the COVID era. So I want to do a quick recap on marketing, okay? Just to refresh in your memory about, the goal of marketing, right? And what is it that marketing it's supposed to achieve or help you achieve? We're going to talk about marketing pre-COVID and marketing post-COVID, and then we're going to go into the strategies or the steps that I want to share with you that you can use in your business. So let's recap. So again, marketing is everything that you do to promote your business, okay? Everything from the moment that you speak the word, I'm starting a business, you have begun marketing, okay? It's a process of activities that come together to entice consumers so that they will become your customers. Remember, everyone is a consumer. We all consume many things, but until a particular person goes to your business and gives you money for that exchange, right? That service or product that you provide, until that transaction happens, a consumer does not become a customer. And one of the things we want to do is turn a lot of those consumers out there into our customers. And marketing should always be a consistent and frequent strategy. It shouldn't be a one-time, one-shot deal. It shouldn't be something that you do today, forget about it, and then 20 days later you come back. No, marketing should be done every day. Every day in your business, you are marketing. And so you have to have a consistent message and you have to have a frequent message. I actually want to share this Thursday, I had a guest speaker at a seminar that I do here in Florida. And he's a lawyer and he's had 3 businesses. And one of his businesses was a gym. So he owned a gym back in the early 2000s, and he felt that he never it wasn't his dream to become a gym owner, but the opportunity fell and he was able to grow his business through marketing. He was able to double in terms of profit what he invested and what he put into the business. And he told us during the seminar, the only reason why I was able to do that was because I was consistently marketing my business. I was consistently telling a story, putting out a message. And then he went on to buy a doctor's practice. He made arrangements with lawyers and different other doctor practices around him. And he was able to market, again, everything that you do, those relationships, okay, those connections that you're making out there, that it's part of your marketing. So keep that in mind. Should always be consistent and should be frequent. The goal of marketing is to engage consumers' mind with your company. So when you think about a particular company, what does it evoke in you, right? That's what you want to be able to achieve. That when people think about your business, that there is something in their head that sparks, right, an experience, whether that's a value experience, whether that's a unique experience, you a pleasant, of course, experience. That's what you want. That's what you want to happen. You want to turn consumers into customers. You want to generate sales. You want to create experiences, and you want to appeal to the needs and wants of consumers. These are the goals of marketing, among some. So we talked also last week about the different marketing mixes, right? And I shared with you about the four P's. So the four main P's are the product, the place, the placement, and the promotion. And these are the four basic, this is the foundation, the four pillars of marketing, because we have to have a product, which is what you have to sell, right? What you have to offer. You have to have a price for that product, which is what people will pay you in exchange for it. You have to have a place, right? A place where people will find it. And then you also have to have a pricing strategy based on that placement, right? Based on consumer expectation. And by that I mean there are places where products go, right, on different shelves. So there's the low value shelf, and then there's the high value shelf. There's the low price shelf, and then there's the high price shelf. So placement has to do with both in terms of pricing strategy as well as where people can find you, whether that's a brick and mortar store, whether that's an online store. And of course, the promotion, which is promotion, all of the activities that you do, that you carry out to sell your product. And then that also includes the level of the level of customer engagement. The other six P's, which have been sort of like picked aside over the last 20, 30 years, they have to do more with the customer, right? So in that that customer engagement experience. So the other P is the people, right? The people that are working for you, the people that are delivering the services, the process, right? In which people are able to connect with you or buy your product and services or even share the experiences. The physical evidence, which has to do with when something is not tangible, right? When you're selling a service that people cannot necessarily take home with them, okay? The personalization, okay? The participation and the peer-to-peer. So the last three, personalization, participation, and peer-to-peer, are very important when it comes to marketing in today's social era, right? But they also play a significant part during COVID era because more and more people are looking for personalized experiences and they don't want to waste time. They're very, the time is money and they're very, they know what they want. People know there's enough information out there and people know what they want. So they want something personalized. They also want to participate and they also are going to talk, right? They're also going to share that experience. And so these are the things that I think the last three are sort of becoming pillars post-COVID era. So branding in terms of identity and image, okay? Still recapping about about marketing. So again, branding is the process that reinforces the message, right? Are you a value-oriented business? It creates the desire, want, right? In people's mind. It's a psychological effect. That's what branding does. Again, it evokes something in people's mind. Branding is your company's promise, okay? So when you falter in your promise, that's going to affect your branding. It's going to affect how people perceive you. Again, identity is how you want to be seen, right? For example, like when you do a business card, when you create a website, when you choose the colors, when you choose the logo, all of that has to do with the identity. But image is different because image, you cannot necessarily put it into a little box, right? It is not something necessarily that we can say, oh, here's the image of this person, because image has to do with what people think, right, of your business. And that's really important to keep in mind because these two, identity and image, they go hand in hand. They really go hand in hand. And so it's important that you know that branding is the perception that people have and the awareness that people have and the value that people place in your business, right? In your product or service, okay? That's going to create a balance between the image and the identity, between what you show people who you are and between what people experience what you are. So, marketing pre-COVID has been sort of like the traditional way in which we have been doing business, right? We have used traditional media, we have used digital media. In the last 20 years, we have begun to use social media more frequently, I would say in the last 10 years. And then we've also done what traditionally has become known as advertising, right, through promotional media. So these are the things that, for the most part, people have been doing pre-COVID. Now, if you see the screen, if you notice, there are two things that are highlighted in green, which is digital media and social media. And that's because those are the two more prevalent mediums of marketing that have taken sort of like a different spin during COVID time. Now, of course, COVID has posed many challenges, right? It has changed the way we live. It has completely shifted consumer behavior, right? The world has gone virtual. We're educating from home, right? Here we are doing a webinar at the comfort of our home, our offices. Students are, college students, young students are, getting education from home virtually. Many people have worked from home, right? Ever since the pandemic hit, many companies decided to send people home to work. And the other thing that you have seen with the work on virtual is a lot more online businesses, okay? And these are things that have happened post-COVID. The other thing that we have noticed in the world of business is that it has moved from a very formal approach to a more casual and relaxed approach. And there's a reason for that, and we'll go into that a little bit more later. And believe it or not, without us knowing, we have been preparing for this shift, right? And so one of the reasons why going virtual and working from home and education, even though we have not been short of challenges, right? And the government hasn't, they've had a number of challenges in, school districts. Even though we've had a number of challenges, the last 20 years, right, in terms of technological advances, have really prepared us for where we are now. And so some of those technological advancements, I'm going to share them with you. The American Marketing Association, earlier this year in April, they put out this report. There are 25 times more connected devices today than they were in 2007. That's significant. There are 30 times more broadband connections in the world than were in 2007. There are 100 times more people each day connecting on Facebook than in 2007. We as a world have created 500 times more data each day than we did in 2007. And e-commerce, right, the ability to shop online, was already 15%, right? As of last year, it was already 15% of the total retail market, right, where people are buying. They were predicting that that number was going to climb by 30% by well, to 30% of the total experience, right, of the total retail experience by 2025. However, the American Marketing Association has updated that and said we are going to reach that 30% a lot sooner, perhaps in 2021 because of COVID. All right. So technological advancements have prepared us to really be able to deal with this crisis, the COVID crisis. We are going to email this presentation. I'm going to send it to Daphne. For those of you that want to see it and have it ready, we are going to email it. Last week's presentation, I emailed it as well. So if you need a copy, make sure to contact Daphne and her group so that you will have it. Okay, so I see we have more people join. Welcome Denise and Ruth and Dorothy and Marianne. Welcome. And Bola, hi. How are you? Good morning. So, okay, so again, more hold on a second. So again, technological advancements have prepared us for where we are today. So that has presented opportunities, right? COVID, even though we have had a number of challenges, COVID has also presented opportunities. Some of those opportunities include creating winning experiences because people's time is limited and is precious. And so they're not going to spend a lot of time. They're more educated, they're more informed, and they're going to go to where they feel they're going to be valued the most, right? Where they're also going to get the biggest bang for their buck, okay? So that presents an opportunity for your business, okay, to create those winning experiences. The other opportunity is that online business is the new norm, right? And so that also means that entrepreneurs and businesses can save on overhead, right? On the brick and mortar and really put that money, that investment into the customer engagement experience. On that note, customer engagement is at our fingertips. It means that it's so close to us, right? That we have an opportunity to really create value, to really create experiences that go beyond, right, that face-to-face interaction that we normally have when we go to a store, right, when we visit a mall. So because we're doing things online, it gives us the opportunity to engage more with our customer and really be able to meet their needs. Peer-to-peer in this, post-COVID environment, peer-to-peer marketing will be king or queen, okay? That's really, really important. And please make a note of that because everything that you do, okay, everything that you do online, it's scrutinized, right? It's being judged, it's being evaluated, it's being assessed by those people that come into contact with your business. And so the opportunity for you as a business owner is to make sure that you provide the best experience possible, right? Provide the best value possible, provide the best price possible, so that these new customers, right, can then pass the vote. They can become your marketing team, so to speak, okay? That's why peer-to-peer marketing is king or queen during pre-COVID. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. They're going to be talking, and they're going to be talking sometimes whether it's truth or not. And so you have to, it's at your fingertip to make sure that you control that, right? That's your opportunity to control the narrative and create a narrative that really supports and promotes your business. The other opportunity, which I think it's really important, is that value is in the expertise and not necessarily in the face-to-face. So I'll give you an example. You go to the mall, right? And you go to the mall, and as soon as you walk to the shoe store, right, you have someone there. Oh, how can I help you, right? And you are, for the most part, like if you're like me, You don't want to be bothered right away. You want to, okay, give me a few minutes. I'm just browsing, right? I'm just like roaming around. I want to see, I want to check things out, right? I want to see the sale. I want to see what you have, the trends, etc. Right? And so because of that, immediately there's this wall that, that just, it just happens, right? We put up a wall because we want to have the time to go shop without being interrupted. We want them to be available as soon as we have a question. But from the sales point, they also create this wall because now they have felt a rejection, right? And so this is something that salespeople deal with all the time, rejection. And unless you're a very good salesperson and really trained in your area, rejections can actually affect sales. And so in post-COVID, you create value, right? When you create value, right? When you become the expert, that's when you become more valuable. That's when people really pay attention to you. That's when people, flock towards where you're at because they see the expertise as the proposition, right? As the proposition to engage with you. And so during COVID time, value is in the experience, not necessarily in the face-to-face that we have been accustomed to. And the other opportunity during COVID times is that we can make changes in real time, right? We can get feedback in real time. We don't have to wait 2-3 weeks, a month, right? To get feedback about a particular product that we're selling, whether people like it or not. We don't have to wait. Like before, you will do focus groups or you will have people fill out a survey and then you wait for it, and you hope that people provide you feedback. During COVID, because of the technological advances that we have and the challenges, right, that come with it, you can make changes in real time. And this is good news for your business. It means that you can pivot. It means that you can make changes. It means that you can learn and adapt quicker, right, to the changes in the environment from your consumers. So I see these as 6 really good opportunities during COVID. Even though we have been faced with many challenges, right? Because we're not short of challenges and we'll continue to have more challenges as COVID spreads, as more cities shut down, as the economy shuts down again. There's going to be challenges, but please keep these in mind, these six items, these 6 opportunities, so that you can grow your business. So this is one quote that I really, really love from Matthew Sweesey, okay? New habits, and this speaks directly to marketing. New habits are being formed, but more importantly, new expectations have been set, okay? So think about this for a moment. During post-COVID, things have shifted. But in the same way that things have shifted, the way that we go about doing business, right, our MO, in the same way that we are forming new habits, consumers are expecting, right, new ways in which they can engage with you. Consumers are expecting a different type of customer service. And so you want to be able to understand what are the expectations that your consumers, right, that your target customer that has, because this is here and it's not going to go away. Even if we're, we find a vaccine, hopefully that'll happen soon. And even as we, manage, the disease and like we've done, throughout history. I mean, we've been able to manage many diseases, right? And so that we can live comfortable. But even after that happens, expectations have been set, right? And so we are creatures of habit, remember that. And as we create new habits, we also create new expectations. So I wanted to also share this. I thought it was brilliantly stated by Matthew in terms of marketing. So let's talk about, I want to share with you 8 marketing strategy or 8 steps that you can do during this post-COVID era. Okay. The first thing is stay relevant. This probably should be you should have an alarm in your business that says stay relevant every hour on the hour. This should be that you should write this, you should put it in front of you, you should have it in front of your computer. Stay relevant. This is really, really important. Reassure your customers that you're still in business, right? Because a lot of people after COVID, because so many companies closed, a lot of small businesses shut down. Even mid-sized businesses shut down, okay? And a lot of people were let go. And so you want to stay relevant by reassuring your customers, right? Reassuring the public that you're still in business, right? Keep going. Let them know, hey, I'm still here, right? Inform customers how your business is responding to the pandemic. That's another way of reassuring your customers. What are the steps that your business has taken to respond to this pandemic? I know, for example, where I work here in Florida, we have contacted all our members. So we don't call our clients, we call them members. And we contact as soon as the county closed and shut down, we make sure that we contact all our members. And we contact them by phone, we contact them by email, we contact them through social media, any which way that we could reach our customer to let them know, even though COVID is here and even though our business, is going to be closed temporarily because of this virus, we are still here for you. And this is the number that you need to call in case, you have an emergency. This is the number that you need to call in case you need something, right? And then we also let them know that if we were going to have any meetings in the office, right, that we're going to be by appointment. So we informed them how we were going to proceed with business. And we also let them know that we were taking precautions, right, to keep their safety at the top of the priority, right? And their health by providing social distancing tools, sanitizing tools, and a number of other tools that we were able to do, right? To invest in so that we didn't lose that momentum with our customers, right? With our members. Be calm in the middle of the storm. So it is so easy to panic, right? And this is, it's easy, but it's also almost like you should panic, right? With everything that is happening, there's no reason why not to panic. We're in business, we're small business owners. We depend on people to buy from us. This is our daily living, right? This is how we pay our own bills. And this is how we go about, raising our children and our families. So yes, there's reason to panic, right? But I have found that most companies, or the companies that have done that have been the most successful in especially small businesses, are those businesses that have remained calm and reassure their customers about doing business with them, as opposed to panicking, as opposed to, using the social media. I can't stress this enough. Use your social media positively. I saw a few businesses during COVID, like I think it was towards the end of March or beginning of April. I saw small businesses just went into chaos mode online, and it was like, oh no, not good, right? Not good, because if you're feeling chaotic, right, your customers, right, your clients are going to be feeling the same thing. They're going to, once they go to your page and then they go to your social media and they see all this chaos and madness, they're going to feel that, right? That's transferable almost in a way. And so you want to remain calm. And you also want, I will give you this piece of advice, you also want to remain nonpartisan, okay? Regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of your religious belief, you want to stay partisan, right? You want to stay neutral, because during these chaotic times, as we have experienced in this country, the worst tends to come out in people. And so any little thing is going to act as a trigger, okay, for your customers. Any little thing can act as a trigger. And so you don't want to put things that are going to affect the way people think about you. And that's why I always say remain neutral when it comes to politics and when it comes to religion, right? Or religious views, because you are in business, right? And you, in business, you basically are dealing with many different personalities and many different people. And so, again, be the calm in the middle of the storm, in the middle of the chaos. Engage customers virtually. This is without a doubt. If you're not doing this, you are behind. You need to begin to engage virtually, create videos, create opportunities, use all the tools available to you at your disposal to create that engagement opportunity, because we are living in a virtual world. At this point and from now on, consider this your norm. Consider this your modus operandum. That means that you have to learn, right? How to engage. If you don't have any, if you're not using any tools right now to engage with customers virtually, then you need to go and take lessons or training so that you can become proficient in this area. So first strategy or first step is stay relevant. Two, again, without a doubt, during this COVID time, have a presence online. Now more than ever, being online is crucial for the survival of small businesses, okay? And you want to create a story, right? And humanize your brand. Don't be just a business, because just business, there are hundreds of thousands out there. Okay, so create a story around your business, create a narrative, right? Create a human, right? Because after all, you're the one managing the business, right? You're the one that is running the show. It is your skills, right? It's your skills that are actually making this happen. So you want to make sure that you tell the story, create a narrative, and humanize, right? Now, when I first heard this term years ago, humanize your brand, right? Humanize your business, I kind of like went into like a spiral a bit. I was like, well, what exactly do they mean, right? How do we convert a brand or a company into a human, right? That's what I'm here for. I'm the one running the show. And so very quickly I learned that our stories, right? The story of self are the ones that connect to the story of others. And so if you, let's say, if you have a business, um, I'll use Bolajoka's story for a moment. She sells, her business sells bracelets and very beautiful jewelry, right? That is specifically geared towards the sororities in college campus, right? So there's a specific market there. The story of her, right, as a lawyer, as a young lawyer, the story of her mother doing business with her, right, a mother-daughter partnership, that's the story that needs to be connected to the business, because people appreciate, right? How many times have you met mother-daughter team, right, that are in business? Not very often, right? It's usually you on your own, or the mother on their own, or the daughter alone. But when you have a mother, daughter, father, son, type of business, people are kind of like impressed. They're like, oh, wow, this is really cool, a family-owned business, right? Which is almost like a dying breed in this country. But use that as the story that connects, your story that connects with the story of others, okay? And that's a way of creating a human brand. Talk about what drove you to this moment, right? To create this business. Be consistent when you create the online presence. Be consistent with your message, right? Be consistent with the colors, with the look, with the feel that you are creating online. one of the things that I shared with you or that I touched on last week when we talked about branding and marketing is that you will never see McDonald's arches in any other color than gold and yellow, right? Because it is important for McDonald's to remain consistent. That's what has been, ingrained in people's mind, that color, right? So all of a sudden, if McDonald were to change the golden arches into, red or green, that's going to throw people off. And so it's important that you create the message consistently across the board. And that also it doesn't only have to do with the way that we look online, right? It's not just like our business card, our website, our color. It's not just that. But the message is also the value that we provide, right? So if you're giving a discount, make sure that that discount is for all participants, for all consumers, that you're not chopping people off, right? And make sure that those values that you instill, right, in your company, that they're across the table, right? Across the table for everyone. And not that you're taking sides or not that you're making specific things, especially in front of people, because people will call you out, right? I remember one day I was in Macy's, and I was at the Macy's in 34th Street, and I always, with my Macy's card, you get, coupons and all of that, and all of these rewards and offers. And I know I had a coupon and I didn't take it with me, and I asked the cashier, right, when I went to pay for whatever I was buying. And I asked her, I said, you know what, do you have any coupons, I'm not afraid to ask for a discount, that's for sure. And she was like, well, I don't have, but let me check. So she, took like 30 seconds and started going, through her papers and opened the drawer and said, oh, here, I have one. And there were people behind me. So of course people are like looking and, listening. And so once I started, I paid for my merchandise and I started walking away, I overheard the person that was behind me ask the cashier, well, can you give me the same discount that you gave him? Right. And so, and I don't know whether, they got it or not. I'm sure they got it. But being consistent with your message is important because others hear it, right? So you may be talking to me and I'm your customers, but there are other people, right? Especially in virtual, right? In the virtual world where everything gets recorded, everything gets screenshot. So it's important that you are consistent with the message, okay? Develop a content marketing and keyword strategy, okay? Ask yourself, what are people looking for? Now, the content marketing and keyword strategy, this has to do with using SEO, right? Search engine optimization, analytics, and website content management. This is the stuff that happens behind the scenes in your website, okay? So you go online and you see this beautiful website, right? Which has all of these beautiful colors and products and, testimonials and what have you. But behind the scene, you are there managing the website, right? And you have to be able to use keywords to attract people. And those keywords, you have to know what people are looking for. So there has to be a synchronicity or synchronization between what you offer and what people are looking for. So with that said, you want to align the goals of your website with the goal of your visitors, which is step number 3. Your business goal, for example, is you want more people to sign up for online classes. The goal of your visitors is, let's say they want to learn photography, right? So some of the things that people are going to be searching for online when they go to Google or their search engine, right? They're going to type in photography classes online classes for photographers, photography workshops, photography webinars, photography in Bayshore, photography in Long Island, photography for dummies, online photography classes near me. So these are just some examples of things that people might be looking for, right? When they do their own searches. And so for you, it's important to understand how the back side of analytics on your website work, so that way you can align what people are looking for with what you are looking for, right? So again, if you have a photography business and you want more people to come to your website to take those photography classes, right? Because we're doing post-COVID, then you have to know what people are going to be looking for. And so those keywords, like the examples that I just wrote here, are the keywords that should be within the content of your website, so that when someone searches online for photography classes online, that language, those keywords actually pop up. They're pulled from your website, okay? So there's two parts. One is it's got to be on your website where people read it, right? Because that's how search engines pick up things. They do kind of screenshots. And try not to use images to where you have a lot of words. Images should be images, and the images should have a title. Like, if you're using a camera, right, as an image, then you should have that image of a camera titled within the back of your website. So you upload the camera image, and you're going to say camera, right? You're going to give it a title. Why? Because when people are doing searching online, that word that you type, that's a keyword that's going to be connected to that image. And when people are searching online for cameras, that gets picked up. The image, when they have a lot of words, right? Let's say what you see on the screen is, let's say that this was an image. This is not going to be picked up, right? It's not going to be picked up by SEOs and by analytics, because everything is a flat, right? It's an image. But you want to create the context of your image, of your website. I mean, the content of your website should have those keywords that people are looking for, okay? And of course, when you do Google Analytics, for example, or if you use a particular template like GoDaddy, Weebly, whatever company you use to host your website, they also have their own analytics, where analytics is where you see the traffic, right? Where people go on your website, you see how many people you get, how many people stop by, how many people, went to buy something and abandoned it, right? And decided to leave. So all of that information you get, from the analytics of your website, and your web host provider can provide you with that information, and you can add keywords, right? Specific words, specific messages to the back end of your website, so that when people are searching for photography webinars, that actually gets pulled up from the search from your business, okay? And you also want to make sure that you include the area, the region, the location, the city, the town where you are working. Why? Because when someone puts, let's say, online photography classes near me, right? If your business address, right, is not on the website, and it's not going to pull up. So you have to make sure that there is an address. Now, if you're working from home, I don't want you to give people your home address, right? You have to at least say, I'm a photography business, Santos Photo Studio located in Bayshore, Long Island, right? So at least that's there. So even though I'm not giving you my address, but I'm telling you where my photo studio is located. But regardless, you should always have locations, right, throughout your website, so that when this, particular search goes, when people start searching, photography classes near me, jewelry, custom made jewelry near me. So that gets pulled up by geolocation analysis, right? That tracks words and searches online. I encourage all of you. I know that Daphne had a series of workshops. I'm not sure if they're going to be repeated on these things, on search engine optimization, on using particular tools online. But there's more to just starting a website, right? There's just more than just putting up these beautiful photos that you want to, have and, sell your product. There's a whole bunch of work that happens behind the scene that you need to be able to do. And as you're doing that, you're going to apply this third step: align your goals, right, with the goals of the visitors. I want to make a quick stop here and find out if there are any questions. Any questions before I proceed? It also gives me a chance to.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to unmute my phone, but I do actually have a question for you.
Go ahead,
I just think it's interesting that you are bringing up the website accessibility issues. I mean, and that's not what you brought up, but that's actually what I'm going to input or ask you about. When you talk about being able to reach different target groups. I know for myself, as somebody with a visual impairment, one of the biggest issues is that we as blind people have that use different technology for the computer is being able to access different websites. So do you talk much about different website accessibility issues and just being able to engage other target groups like people with disabilities, and how important it is for the websites to be accessible for the different target groups to access them. So I mean, and not just people with disabilities, but just elders,
Right.
So on and so forth.
Yeah, no, thank you, Misha. Thank you for your question. And I think that's a really valid point, okay? I am not going to any further than what I have already said about the accessibility, right? Aligning your goals with the goals of your visitors. If your visitor has an impairment or a disability, and you want other people to be able to access your website. Now, what I will say is that there are standards that businesses can use to become ADA compliant, okay? And more, you are seeing the little ADA compliant logo on websites. And that's to let other people know that this website complies with certain requirements for people with disabilities. And this is really important because it changes the way that your website is laid out. And it also guides you in terms of colors, in terms of the imagery, in terms of the depth. Like, you cannot use grays, right? Because it doesn't really show up. And some people with disability may not see the gray as good as they see black or a darker color. And so there is a standard that more and more companies are using to ensure that people across the spectrum, okay, especially people with disabilities, that they have access to the information. Misha, I think this is a huge point and very valid, and thank you for bringing it up. And I do encourage each and every one of you to, if you're creating a website, make sure that you make your website ADA compliant, okay? This is something that you can get from, you can get guidance from the web designer that you're working with, or the web hosting company. They'll show you, they'll tell you there's a specific guideline that you as a business have to follow in order for everyone across the spectrum, with or without disability, but specifically for people with disability to be able to engage online with you. So thank you so much, Misha. Unfortunately, I'm not prepared to talk more about that, but I definitely think this is a huge concern, and it should be everyone's goal, especially during post-COVID era, because everyone is here. Everyone is connected. Everyone is in this box here, in this little space, in this confinement, so to speak. And so you want to make sure that you provide the best engagement possible. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Let me see if I can move this here. Okay. The fourth strategy, or the fourth step, is refresh your customers' experiences. Okay. So what does this mean? Refresh, right? When you hit the refresh button on your computer, you're telling the computer to go back, right, to a place where the screen was in a better area or in a previous time, right? And it just basically clears things up. By definition itself, it refreshes the view, right? Remind customers why they do business with your company. You have to. During post-COVID, you want to remind people why did they choose to do business with you from the beginning? Why do they continue to do business with you now? And why should they continue to do business with you in the future? And all of this has to do with value, right? With price, with accessibility, right? Or location and convenience. Let customers know they have more than one way to connect with your business. So your website is one place where people connect with you, right? But you should have a phone number where people call, right? You should have an email address. You should have a social media account, right? You should have various ways in which people can connect with you. That's a way of refreshing the customer experience. Again, back to number one, right? Reassure your customers, right? Reassure them that you're here, that you're in business, and these are the ways that they can connect with you. Simplify the process. That's another thing that you want to do when you refresh your customers' experience. You want to simplify, make things easier, right? Make things dumb free. That's what I usually tell people when they build their website. Say, make it dumb free. You know, anybody should be able to get online, from a 4 or 5 year old to an 80-year-old, and everybody should be able to understand the process. You shouldn't have to go 20 different clicks to get what you want. You shouldn't have to go, more than 3 clicks to buy something, okay? And so you want to simplify the process of doing business. And you also want to reward customers. So those customers that you've seen that they have come to you over and over, right? Reward them, invest in them. Okay, make sure that you provide something, like an added value, something more, right? The Avis, years ago, Avis Rent-A-Car, they came out with this commercial, and they used to say, "We try harder," right? That was their added value proposition. We try harder. And they used to have they used to show one of their competitors, right? One of their competitors' booth right at the airport, where people are just there waiting in a line, and the representative is chewing gum on the phone and not paying attention to the customer. And then they'll say something like, this is what you get with the other companies, but we try harder, right? And we put more people on our desk so that you don't have to wait longer, so that we can take care of you and you can go on about your trip and about your business quicker. And so you want to make sure that you reward customers. And rewarding customers doesn't necessarily mean losing money, okay? Rewarding customers can be sharing their stories as well, making your customers, highlighting their story, their experiences, and making them feel wanted, important, valued, and appreciated. The fifth step here is build relationship with customers. Now, We've heard this over and over for years, right? So you start your business and people, you go to the entrepreneurial center and you hear it over and over from Daphne and the rest of the team. Make sure you build, this is really important. Build relationships with customers. More than ever, this is, the peak. This is the height of customer engagement. It may seem simple, right? It's simple. Build customers makes sense, right? But it is harder to build meaningful relationships with customers when you never practice. And so that's why you have to get into the habit of building relationships. Because if you haven't been doing it, it becomes hard because people are going to react to you like, what? Who are you? Right? Imagine that you belong to a club. And imagine that you have, been a part of this club and you have said hello to everybody, but people have not responded to you. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they say something. Oh, hello. You're going to react surprised, right? This is the same way that the customers react, right? When you, without having any relationship with them, reach out to them. Oh, what is this? Who are you? What do you want, right? Immediately, like, what do you want from me? So it's harder to build relationships when you've never done it. But that's why this. This is basic. This is a standard. This is a foundation for businesses, for any businesses, before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. Okay? Build relationship with customers. Make sure that you engage them. Make sure that you have a conversation. Go above and beyond the transaction. It's not just give me my money, right? It's not just here, give me my money and goodbye, right? Send thank you notes, send thank you emails, offer rewards, right? So something as simple as Santos, you spent $40 with me during the last transaction. The next time you come, I'm going to give you a 5% discount, a 10% discount. If you post this on social media, right? And you post that positive, a positive testimonial, I will give you let's say a 10%, a 20%. I will do something for your people. That's what this means. Offer rewards. Promote their stories. So if one of your customers comes to you and say, I bought this from you and it really worked, right? And it helped me deal with this or that, right? It changed my life in this moment. It helped my daughter, it helped my son. Don't just say thank you, wow, this is great, right? Write it down. Make sure that you ask the person, can I share this story, right? Ask for permission. Can I share this story with others? Do I have your permission? Do you have a photo that I can use of you and your daughter, or you using this, or just you, right? And make sure that you engage with the customer story, because this is the relationship building, and this is also the business building. Be empathetic. The worst thing is to approach a business who you get the sense that they don't care, right? That they don't care about your situation, that they don't care that you're spending money with them, they don't value you. That's really bad. So remember, building relationship with customer means you also have to be empathetic, and you have to care. You have to be able to share. All right. The next step is do your research. Again, some of these things are not new, right? Some of these things are not like, oh, wow, what an insight. This is just the same thing that you've been doing, but we're going to, put it in your brain so that you can then be successful. Find out what people want and what people need. This is, again, going back to marketing 101. Finding out what people want and what people need. Identify then your cash cow, right? Those products that yield the highest margin, because you want to focus on those. You want to focus on short-term strategies that yield the highest margin, taking in consideration what people want and what people need. Make sure that you employ digital marketing technology to engage your consumers and to stay connected remotely. Again, All of this thing is what I have been repeating, but this is part of doing your research. The other thing, which is really, really important, is be prepared to answer questions, and sometimes the hard questions. Okay, someone once said, and then it becomes sort of like the law. There are no silly or stupid questions, right? And we all know that they are. We all know that there are people that just like won't get it. But you have to be prepared to answer those questions, even if they sound silly, right? Even if they don't really make sense to you. And in this post-COVID era, there are so many questions. People just have, when am I getting this? Even though it will say there, right, you're getting this in 3 days, they're still gonna call you and say, when am I getting this? And so you have to be prepared. You have to know, what people are gonna, or at least predict to some degree, what people will ask. Your seventh strategy is to focus on a short-term strategy to build profits. Okay. Now, the previous slide I said, identify your cash cow, right? And those products that yield the highest margin. And you can do that doing your research, right? Being prepared. So once you do that, make sure that you focus on a short-term strategy. Okay. What that means is that knowing what people want, you want to give it to them. Okay. You want to be ready to give it to them. And people are willing to spend money on the right products, right? With the right company and with the right relationship. And this goes no matter where you go and no matter what industry you're in. I have seen people, I myself, for example, don't mind spending extra in a particular product if I'm getting excellent customer service, if I see that my needs are being met, my questions are answered, the company is going above and beyond, or the employee, right? And so I don't mind tipping higher than 15, 20, 18, 20. I have tipped even 50%. Excuse me. So I have even tipped 100%. It depends on the situation, right? It depends on how I felt at that moment with that particular person and with that particular company. So make sure that you are prepared. One of the things that you have to look at your product offering, right? And whatever is not moving, right? Whatever is not selling, move it out of your inventory or move it out in front of the customer. Because if this is not moving, I come back to your shop and I still see this there, I'm not going to become interested, right? So you have to always present something fresh, something new, and something that moves. The only way that you're going to know whether something is moving or not is based on sales. That's how you identify your cash cow, right? That's why Dunkin' Donuts doesn't just sell coffee, they sell donuts, right? Or vice versa. That's why they don't sell just donuts, they sell coffee, right? With it, because they have identified what works, right? What sells, what people want. And you, as a small business, you should be able to look at, the items that you have and then say, okay, this is what I have. This is what people are attracted, right? These are the keywords that I see in doing the SEO and through the analytics that people are looking for. This is what the consumers, right, are out there searching for. Adapt, adjust, and assure has to do with that product. So adapt what you're doing online, right? If people want, if red is the trend, then you better have red, right? If blue is the trend, then you need to have blue. Adapt to what the consumer wants. Adjust things, right? And adjust, especially during COVID, it's important because if you don't adjust, people are just going to go by. You're just going to become one of the rest. You're not going to stand out. So it's important that you adapt, adjust, and assure. Again, assure the customer, hey, you wanted last week, you emailed me about a red cup. Guess what? We just got them in, right? And so again, adapt, adjust, and assure. When you're focusing on the short-term strategy, you are also doing business in real time, right? And this is, again, one of the advantages or one of the silver linings during post-COVID, right? During the COVID area, that because things are happening so quickly and people are becoming so all of a sudden very wise, and they know what they want, they don't want to waste any time. That gives you the ability to move things quicker, to understand what customers want, to understand what the market is looking for, so that you can then generate more profit. Okay, so if they're looking for the red cups, and that's why you sell cups, make sure you have them in red, right? And then connect with your audience in real time. Real time, that means now. That, again, it doesn't mean that we're going to wait 3 months, wait for the survey, all of that. It means that we have the opportunity to make money now. Okay, and then make sure that you pivot as often as needed. Especially during COVID, we are learning a lot of lessons. We are learning how people shop, how people suddenly, they were this and now they're leaning towards that. There's many shifts in consciousness. There are many shifts in consumer behavior. And as you are dealing with people, as you're working with your customers, as you are engaging with them, listen, right? Pay attention to those cues and make sure that you pivot, make sure that you make the changes necessary to build those profits. If you stay doing the same thing, you're not gonna be successful. During post-COVID, things have changed, and so you have to be open to change as well. Last but not least, I want you to think about this one. Reflect. During post-COVID time, it is really, really imperative that you not only become creative, but that you also become authentic. Your authentic self should come out in building these relationships. Make sure that you evaluate your company's values, your company's mission. Are you still relevant? Remember, number one, be relevant. Are you still relevant? Reassure your customers that you're in for the long run, that you're not a fly-by business, that you're not going to shut down. Again, that you are here with them, that you are walking the hard mile with them, okay? Avoid hard sell. This is really important because we have been so used to sell, right? Sell, push it, right? We have become that kind of society where, get it now, right? Get it now, otherwise it won't be here. So we're always in a constant hard sell. COVID-19 has changed, again, how we do business. And so those type of hard sell where you're constantly pushing, is that no longer works. You know why? Because people are looking for unique experiences. People are looking to be treated with kindness. People are looking for empathy. People are looking for sympathy. People are looking for connections. People are looking, look at my dog. They just want you to look at their dog. So people are looking for a way to connect. And so this hard sell, this pressing in is something that we have to change. And we change that reaffirming our with the message, right? Reaffirming our customers, reassuring them of what we're doing. Okay. I want to, let's see. Yep, that was the last one. Again, let me go back really quickly. Stay relevant. Number one, stay relevant. Two, maybe should be number one, have an online presence. Three, align the goals of your customers with your goals. In other words, what the customers are looking for is what you should have on your website. Four, refresh your customers' experience. Make sure that they know, right, that you're still there. Refresh why they should be doing business with you. Build relationships or continue to build relationships, right? And if you're not at that point, then get on the bandwagon. Start building those relationships. Do your research. Don't go, blindfolded into this. There's plenty of information. There's plenty of advice. There's plenty of help out there, right? So you can do your research and get better at what you do. focus on short-term strategies, right? So yes, we want to be successful in 5 years. We want to be there, right? We want to be millionaires or whatever your goal is, right? But right now, back at the ranch, right? Right here, right now, things are different. And so we have to focus in the here and now, in the real time, in order for us to be successful. And with everything that is happening, make sure that you stay positive. Make sure that you take time to reflect. Make sure that you take time to step back a little bit and see the whole picture, because it's so hard. It becomes really frustrating when you're trying to, constantly, and you have to step back. You have to step back a little bit and begin to reflect and ask the questions, am I being creative? Am I engaging my customers? Am I being authentic, or are people seeing me as a fake? My mission is this, what if is my mission what people really see, right? Is this what people are connecting to? And again, reassure your customers that you're in for the long haul, that you're in, you're in this commitment, you're in with them. And this is a phrase that I heard very often during the summer, right? At the peak of the pandemic, we're in this together, right? We might not be in the same boat, right? No one, no one is in the same boat. We're in different boats. All of us are in different ships all over, right? But we're in this together. And so that's important you want to reassure your customers that, you understand, that you're empathetic, that you're here, right? And these are the things that you're going to do to keep their business. These are the things that you're going to do to make sure that they're happy and that they think of you every time they have a need for this red cup. So with that said, this ends today's webinar on strategies post-COVID. I want to leave it open for anyone that have any questions. Go ahead. Carrie?
Hi. Somebody brought this up last week, and I just wanted to ask again, the whole issue of sort of putting yourself out there on social media to sell. It's not something that I'm necessarily totally comfortable with. But do you think it's, like I know people tie their LinkedIn and everything into selling. I guess my question is it 100% necessary these days now to do it? And is there a way to sort of make just a business identification, like instead of my name personally or solely my, image, can I market the business name that way? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And we are talking about the business, right? So unless you are the business, unless the business carries ABC goods, right? Unless you are the person in front on every picture, right? This should be about the business. Now, the reason we talk about having social media and different outlets is because the business has to have a presence. Today, we talked about humanizing the brand. So you don't necessarily have to have all of these social media accounts. I don't think anyone has the time to do all of that, right? It's one can be very exhausting. Even dealing with one can be overwhelming. So here's what I will ask you, Carrie, and ask everyone here. Ask yourself, or what I would say is ask yourself, how are you reaching your customers now, right? Or what strategy do you have in place to reach potential customers? How's that working for you? If you have been, right? How's that working for you? Evaluate that. Have you had good engagement or poor engagement, right? If you've had good engagement, then do more of that. If you've had poor engagement, then evaluate what is it that you're not doing to get that engagement. Being on every social media site is not the answer because not everybody is on every social media, right? So I have an Instagram account, but I only use my Instagram account for my person. This is me, my family, my kids. right? My grandkids. This is where I show off with my friends. This has nothing to do with me being a consultant, right? The fact that people know that I'm a consultant and that I work in the field that I do and that I help people, assist people in starting a business is as a result of their relationships with me professionally, right? But my Instagram is personal. I don't want nothing work related there. My Facebook started out as a personal account, but very soon it became very blurred between the work that I do in economic development, right? And the work that I do at my job and the people that I meet. And so that sort of became a semi, you know, private public. And so I consider it now sort of like the media, the social media that I use to engage with others that are maybe buying into the consulting or maybe sharing my work related experience there. But I also have a separate account, which is through LinkedIn. And that's strictly, that's not a Facebook, that's not an Instagram, there's no, color there. This is a very straightforward business approach type. And that I do maybe once a week, whereas Instagram and Facebook are more engaged daily. Okay. Now, having said that, evaluate for you, for your business, evaluate what you're doing now, or what is it that you're going to do if you haven't launched your business. And then again, ask the question. You don't have to be on every social media. And again, know where your customer is. That's really, really important. If you're going to do business with other businesses, you probably want to have a LinkedIn account, right? If that's going to be your main goal to do business with other businesses, then Facebook is not the place for you, right? Instagram may not be the place. Reddit may not be the place. You probably want to have a LinkedIn, a very strong LinkedIn account where other professionals, where other businesses go to do business and network. And maybe you want to have a YouTube account because when you have a business, you want to show off, right? You want to show off what you do. So having a YouTube account helps you, put videos and stuff that you can refer to, your relationships, right? And that you can use that as a way to promote your services as a business. So I hope that answers your question, Carrie. And if anybody else has the same question, I really don't believe that you should have all kinds of social media just because. There should be a specific focus, a specific goal when you have social media. You should know why the very name itself, social media, implies that there's going to be interaction, that there's going to be connections. So I ask you, right? Are the people on that social media platform the ones that you want for your business, right? That's where you have to find out. Where is my customer? Is he in Facebook? Is he on Instagram? Is he on LinkedIn? Where is that customer? Because where that customer is where I'm going to go to make sure that I'm in their face and to make sure that I engage and to make sure that I build those relationships. But that, being everywhere doesn't always mean that you're successful. In
Or how
fact,
about if the question of promoting things, like the name of my business is Highlights of a Lifetime. So do I, are there any studies or, like if I call my social media Highlights of a Lifetime instead of Carrie Pittman? You know what I mean? Like my Instagram page or my YouTube page and all that, call it, market and LinkedIn even.
yeah, that should, if you're promoting your business, then all of your social media, what do you call that? The angles, they should be highlights of a lifestyle.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Again, you can be there, right? You are the business, so to speak, right? So you are the one that's putting the engagement, and you want people to get to know you, Carrie. That's without a doubt. But you want people to remember not Carrie, but Highlights of a Lifestyle, because that's the one that's going to make the money, right? You want to put that in people's, and then the relationship that they have with you is going to remind them of that business, right? And vice versa, the relationship they have with that business is going to remind them of that person running the business. Okay. Any other questions?
I actually have a question.
Yes, go
And
ahead.
I wanted to jump in before anybody else did. I love what you said about just staying relevant, but what you said about staying nonpartisan and not engaging in, I guess, attitudes around different religious observances, whatever. My question to you is, with the upcoming holidays, what are some of the, how do we target our message that makes our message inclusive of all people? Because we know we have like Black Friday coming up, we know we have Christmas coming up, and for example, there was also a business out here that was like, yeah, we support Black Lives Matter, and that business suffered horribly. There was a whole lot of messages on social media about because of people's attitudes surrounding Black Lives Matter. And so when you said you have to stay nonpartisan and don't get too engaged in political hot topics, I definitely, because I witnessed that firsthand for myself. But when it comes to, like I said, religious observances, what should be our business's message surrounding, because I think that like you said, religion is another one of those hot topics that really kind of taboo, and you don't want to necessarily get too deep into it. But how do we tailor our message that makes it inclusive, especially around different religious holidays, just to ensure our success?
Yeah, I think that's a really valid question, Misha, especially because we live in a society where we are naked. Not necessarily, skin naked, but we are naked in the world, right? In people's eye, they can easily track one opinion that we say here and attach it to some work that we do over there. And so there's that thin line. That's why Carrie's question, I thought, was really important too, because you have to be able to separate things, right? You have to be able to create the branding for the company. Now, so I think that it's a decision that every business owner needs to make based on their own values, how they approach holidays, social issues. I know I've met business owners who are strong supporters of Black Lives Matter, but they don't associate, and I mean personally, they are strong support. They don't necessarily associate that with their business. I think it's a call that each person has to make. I don't think there's a one rule fits all for everybody in terms of what message you want to give. I do think that sometimes taking a position or not, taking a position is going to yield response. Not taking a position will also yield a response, especially if people are looking for responses, right? And so it goes back to understanding your message. It goes back to understanding your target audience, your community. Where are you doing business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting a sense from that community as to what are the limits, where you can push, so to speak. There are people that have very persuasive ads when it comes to engaging customers, and there are people that have very controversial ads. And I think people push the limits based on what they're allowed to push, right? There was a business a few years ago, I'm not sure where, I can't remember where, maybe Midwest, I can't remember where, but there was a business that, they decided not to sell or bake a cake for a gay couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that brought like national attention, right? And maybe that business owner didn't wasn't thinking about it. Maybe, I don't know, right? Maybe he said, listen, I'm this, and if this goes against, what I do, and I don't want to be involved. Maybe that's how it happened. But the aftermath of that became a national discussion. And I think it's because the national discussion was needed. You understand? So just like Black Lives Matter is a national discussion that is needed. So there are certain things that people need to hear, and then there are things that matter discussion, and there are things that don't have to do anything with your business or promoting your business, or so it shouldn't be part of your business. But only you as a business owner can determine how far you're willing to go, right? To engage and to ask those questions, and to even put out an opinion about something that affect us socially. I think we need to be smart about building business relationships, really taking advantage of everything that it's available to us in this post-COVID era, which affects all people, Black, white, gay, straight, Christian, atheist, everybody. And so if we find the commonalities, right, what is it that makes us human? That's why I went back to, create, humanize your brain, and connect with people, because it is the story of self. I want, if you don't remember anything else from today, I want you to remember this. It is the story of self that connects with the story of others. Okay? How we build relationships, how we grow, how we spread our message is that connection where you feel, I was touched, I relate, I can see myself. You see, the story of self and the story of others. Use that to your advantage in your marketing campaigns. Use that to your advantage in everything that you do, but also know your limits and your boundaries. Okay, and above all, I'm a strong believer. That when you give people love and respect, for the most part, people will give it back. For the most part. Of course, there are some instances where there are some crazy things happening, but it is your responsibility, right? Like, it's my responsibility as a human being. No one else has to tell me that I'm gonna get a place in heaven, or I'm gonna get a place in hell if I don't do this or that. My responsibility as a human being is to act with kindness, is to be good. That's what I believe. That just genuinely comes out from my heart, irrespective of ideology, religious belief, political affiliation. It doesn't matter, right? So again, you decide what is best for your business, and be prudent. Be prudent, right? Be prudent. That's really important. Mary, did you want to add something? I saw that you're unmuted, and hopefully, Misha, I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you. I was echoing also what Carrie had been saying, was brought up from the beginning. I think it's a really poignant and very powerful when you say humanize the brand, and that the story of self is the one that will connect with the story of others. I really believe in that philosophy. I mean, it couldn't be said more brilliantly. I have a dilemma. My struggle is I wish to provide a service for a clientele that maybe you would put them in the demographic of business professionals, and they appreciate privacy. I have been a certified language teacher for 20 years, and I have over 50 trips to Europe and more. I've lived abroad for a year and a half. I could do a lot of research, but I also have my own experiential knowledge with trying to encourage people to have confidence in practicing their English speaking skills. And I find the most difficult barrier is the embarrassment factor, the fear of making mistakes. It's the lack of confidence. It's so deep. I just had a consultation with two, I don't want to say the word business executives, but serious serious students of English who are business professionals. And their largest dilemma, their biggest struggle, is getting over their insecurities at any age. They may be the CEO of their company,
Right.
but opening their mouths to practice and improve their English speaking skills, my biggest threat is their lack of confidence, or, I mean, I don't know, there's a verb called vergognarsi. To be ashamed is too deep in English, okay?
Right.
The translation of that in other languages is to be ashamed. It's the fear of making a mistake.
Right.
That leads me to understand from experience that many of the demographic I'm trying to reach has an embarrassment factor. They want a privacy factor.
Right.
I am struggling to know how to advertise and market to reach that clientele, because they're almost in a closet of, I'm too afraid to speak, you know? I've been studying English for 20 years, but they won't open their mouths.
Right. Let me thank you for that. I think that's that's something I actually relate to. So, of course, even though I'm born here in the United States, I was born in Philadelphia. I was raised in Puerto Rico. And so coming back to the States as a teenager, I was sort of like thrown into this classroom where everyone spoke English and I'm the only one that speaks Spanish. And so I used to walk around, I kid you not, I used to walk around with a thesaurus this big just because I wanted to learn, and I was embarrassed every time they, and even going into college, right, as an adult in my early 20s, I was, not socially, but, doing presentations or getting in front of people, right? So my accent was I was very conscious of my accent. And then I heard someone say something at some event and who made fun of himself. So he sort of like said, something about himself that was personal, that he felt like, but it was personal, but it was public. And I kind of like thought of that, and I was like, that's like me and my accent. So when I started doing public speaking and really engaging and doing presentation, I will always start with this line. Good evening or good afternoon or whatever, right? My name is Santos. I have an accent. And people would just like, all of a sudden you hear like silence, and then people crack up. And so that was my way of making fun of me to make me feel comfortable in front of the crowd, because I knew if I could laugh at myself, I was going to be more relaxed, So that was my strategy. So I used to say, hi, my name is Santos. I have an accent. You don't have to adjust your hearing. I'm Puerto Rican. I have an accent. And people would just crack up. And, I say, if you don't understand something, because sometimes I say they, and it's three different, things. So just make sure you raise your hand and, ask. That was my way of breaking from my own fear. But I think you're pointing out something very important that happens very often with many professionals, with many individuals, whether they're new to this country, whether they're learning a second or third language, or whether they're dealing with a personal situation that they feel is a crisis. And the one thing that actually came to my head, and I wrote it down when you were speaking, is erectile dysfunction. And so
nobody wants to admit their weaknesses.
So this is a serious topic. Nobody wants to make it public. It is nobody's business, right? Keep it in the closet, right? Like, shh, only the wife knows that, right? And so it is a sensitive issue, but doctors have managed to have conversations with spouses, both husband and wives, right, or partners, around this issue, because the person feels the need to overcome that issue. And so I think one of the things that you said had to do with privacy, which is the same thing that often happens with men who are experiencing ED, right? The privacy issue, right? No one needs to know. No, I don't want nobody to know. I don't want to be judged, right? And so that goes without saying for any type of fear. I think people recognizing that intimacy level, it's something that you have to recognize that privacy is important. So, but you know what? Privacy is you knowing your customer. And I've always said this every time I teach a marketing class, know your customer, right? Know your customer. The more you know that audience, that particular group that you're dealing with, the more you know what they feel, what they like, what they want, the better you're gonna be able to manage or handle or do business with them. So take a few lessons for today. Reassure them, right? It's okay, it's okay if you have an accent. Tell them, listen, I met this guy named Santos and he has an accent, and he does presentation and, like reassure them that it's okay. That's the one thing. And then also reassure them of their motivation, right? Why have you come here? Right? Why do you seek my service? Right? Again, that happens through relationship building. And then when you are creating your campaign, right? Your advertising, take in consideration those things that people fear, right? They fear, that embarrassment, like you say, that notion that I don't want people to know that I have an accent. I'm in this position and people look at me this way, and like this is going to create a disconnect between others. And reassuring people that it's okay, that, you are who you are and you're beautiful and you're brilliant and you're wonderful just the way you are. And that's why you are here. And I think reinforcing those messages help the audience get more comfortable in their skin and also more comfortable in sharing, okay, and referring.
Yeah, it's thank you. I think everything you just said is so exactly perfectly described. I'm a person who learned a second and third, actually, but I learned Italian from scratch, and I studied very, very hard, and I made it my utmost, goal was to excel and succeed. But that was my personality. That's my character. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not afraid to, eventually I started to do public speaking engagements in Italian because I built that confidence. I want to do that for somebody else. Other people may not have that thing that I have. I don't know, to expose myself, put it out there. I did, I'm trying with my business concept. I had two people at the same time in a setting like this, in a Zoom setting, so that we could do a 3-person English conversation. I picked two professionals. There were two cousins. And one cousin is very, very good at English, and she was almost silent during this session because her big cousin, who is very weak, her skills are poor, but she's improving. She's trying, okay? She's not yet. The older cousin's English speaking skills were lower than the younger cousins, but because of the family intimidation factor, because of the comfort level, because of vergognarsi, because of the I'm afraid to make a mistake, or she's my elder cousin and I'm not going to overspeak, I'm not going to speak over her. Like I found it even in the 3 people session that there was this threat to the service, which is I'm not getting what I can out of this particular woman because she's intimidated by her cousin present in the conversation. So I'm struggling as to how to reach that person who needs this service, wants it, but is somehow just afraid to make the mistakes, open the mouth and make the mistakes.
Right. And I think that would be a good segue for a one-on-one consultation because there are ways, and you clearly have the experience and you clearly have the knowledge, otherwise you wouldn't be in this business. But the two things, privacy, right?
Yeah.
And the recognition of that human side, of people, that it's really important to acknowledge. And more than often, it is the lack of recognition right? That sets people off, or that pushes people away. You go somewhere, let's say, we go to a shop, we go to a restaurant, right? And we're standing there waiting. We wait a minute. That's a long time to wait in front to be, like you go in there. 1 minute is too long to be waiting by the entrance, to be seated. And I have walked away because I'm not getting the attention. And so understanding that dynamic in terms of customers, right? And what you're doing, it's really, really important, and reassuring people. I think, and Mary, I hope we can talk more about this on the side. I want to give the opportunity to other people. I think, Bola, did you have a question for me? I saw you unmuted before.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, this is Faye. I'm using my mom's account, so her name is up there. I did have a comment, but I don't know if it's relevant anymore. I think I was just echoing about somebody talking about adding social issues to your business. And I was just going to say that for us, especially, it's difficult. I forgot most of what I was going to say, but for us, it's difficult to kind of separate the two. Number one, I'm Black. We sell to Black and Latino organizations. So things like Black Lives Matter, if we don't say anything, it's going to be a problem.
Right.
And then the other thing is that, like with the recent election, Kamala Harris happens to be my sorority sister, and I sell to my sorority sisters.
Right.
So I have to kind of, push forward and say, hey, this is my sorority sister. She just won an election. Push out some products as well, because it also helps me make some more money,
Right.
So I think that it might depend on the business. Some of us, we don't have a choice.
Right, but it goes back to what everything you just said reinforces that it's know your customer.
Mm-hmm.
See, who is your customer? You just clearly said, these are the customers that I deal with. These are the circles that I'm involved. These are the places where I hang out or where I make my money. And so you already have that knowledge. So, and you already are there. So it's easy. In fact, it's easy for you to speak on social issues and on matters that are of perhaps of societal issues that are on the news, right? It may be easier for you, one, because like you say, you're Black and you're in this circle, but you know your customer. Mm-hmm. And the story of you, like you said, because I'm Black, right? The story of you is the story of others. Mm-hmm. That connection, it's important for your business. Because in the circle that you're in, but it's not necessarily the same for everybody, right? True. So I think that's why I said it's a personal decision. Know your customer, know where you're at. There are people that, and I'm not saying by any means, I'm not asking anyone to be silent when justice is needed, especially if on a personal side in front of you. I'm a firm believer, if I see something wrong in front of me and I can do something about it, I'm gonna get involved, right? But that's me, my person, right? I'm not gonna drag my business and all of that, right? Or my job, because there's a lot of also, even if you don't have a business, sometimes you being politically inclined or religiously inclined towards one way or another can also put into jeopardy where you work, right? Because the people at your job may not necessarily share the same views, right? Or the funders of those employers, right? Or the people that do business with your employer may not necessarily share the same views, and they may be in a position where they're like, oh, you know what, that Santos guy, he was over there and he said this, and we're not having that, right? And so you have to, kind of like make certain decisions for yourself as to how involved you're going to be. In business, knowing your target audience is the most important part. Because once you know your audience, then you know how many buttons you can push, right? And you know how many conversations you can have. And you know how much you can spread, your wings, your empathy also, right? In terms of letting people know, I'm here, I'm with you, we're in this together. And that's really important, because if this is the people, if this is the base that is giving you your money, then why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you? And so I think, again, knowing your audience and knowing your customer, who are you working with, it's really crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Faye, thank you for seeing you. Thank you for your question, and nice seeing you again. I think we have a meeting coming up soon, right?
Monday, yeah.
Monday, okay, excellent. Okay. Any other questions? I thought that there was, let's see, any other messages here? Uh,
I want to say thank you. It
yes,
was
Denise.
very informative, really helpful. My biggest hurdle is my marketing because I really don't have skills in that area. I have grown kids, so that help. My son was doing my Facebook. My daughter was doing Instagram, but they have families and they're really busy. Recently, though, when Berlin had a webinar, I mentioned that I was giving away my product to my regular, customers who have been customers for a while. Instead of selling it when they ordered, I gave it to them, And one person that I only did it like with 3 people so far, but one person, she just came back. It hasn't even been a month. She ordered 2 of my creams, and another person ordered 3. I was like, so they came back and showed their appreciation. It's really what you said is, it works. You're kind, you want to be kind, and you want to say thank you, and they're coming right back with.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for your words, Denise, and thank you for being here. I definitely appreciate your feedback. Again, it doesn't cost to be nice. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. Maybe a few frowns, a few wrinkles over time because you're always smiling, but it doesn't cost anything to be nice, and people appreciate that. When you do something for someone, they remember that. I certainly have, and I certainly do with every business transaction that I do. I try to know, and I do Google reviews, right? I do a lot of Google reviews, by the way. I think I have like over 500,000 impressions on Google reviews, because everywhere I go, I evaluate the business. Google asks me, what did you think of this business? And I give my opinion, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, and I share. I say, I like this business. They were attentive. And that's important. You need to be also aware of what people are saying about your business. And use that. I've had businesses, in fact, I've had businesses email me, right? They contact me through Google, and say, very nice words, oh my God, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for what you said. Thank you for your reviews. Thank you for your posts. So, and I feel appreciated because I know someone took the time to read, right? And that's so important. Sometimes that's all you want, right? For if there's bad customer service, you want someone to know about it so that it can be rectified. So the next time you or others go there, they have a better experience. And so definitely being kind pays off, and it doesn't cost anything. I think I'm going to close it out for today. Daphne, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for coming. Santos, you did a fantastic job as usual. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sure everyone took something away from this workshop. And I know I did too. I'm coming up with the topics for our next series next month. So thank everyone for your feedback. And the series continues next Saturday with another marketing workshop. I don't have my flyer in front of me, so I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but it continues the marketing series. And I hope to see everyone again next Saturday. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye, everybody.